If there was one thing that you could do that would help your success more than almost anything else, it would be the one thing I'm going to talk about today. Not only will this one thing help you to set more new business appointments by likely double, if not triple, it will help you win significantly more accounts if you go through a competitive quoting process, but it will also allow you to write bigger accounts, that is, bigger commission accounts, more accounts, typically double the number of accounts, and you will win more signed broker of record letters. If you do this one thing that I'm going to talk about in this podcast episode, you will set more appointments, you will write more accounts, you will write bigger accounts, you will have to quote less because you win more signed broker of record letters. It really is that important. The sad part about it is that most insurance agents don't do it. They skip the process, and most insurance agencies don't really have any kind of training on this particular subject. That's why it's important that we talk about this one thing. So let's get into it. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. My name is Charles Specht. Welcome to the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. It's great to have you with us, and I'm excited you're here. As I've done in the last few different podcast episodes, I want to give you a short little commercial break because the Permission Producer School, which is my intensive producer school for agents who are going to be selling, it's going to be launching on October 14th of 2024. I want you to go to my website, permissiongroup.com, and click on the link at the top of the navigation bar, which is Permission Producer School, or simply go to permissionproducerschool.com. You're going to see a little bit about what it's going to be. It starts October 14th. It goes through the 18th. It's about 2.5 to 3 hours every day for that week. And I'm taking you step by step by step through the process of how you can create a personalized sales process that is going to be targeted for certain types of industries. That's going to help you set more appointments, win more clients, write bigger accounts, and get more signed broker of record letters. And so I want you to go to there, permissionproducerschool.com. Get signed up, get registered. It's $497. It starts October 14th. Please go ahead and help yourself by going to permissionproducerschool.com and sign up for the October 14th cohort. Okay. Now with that commercial done, let's talk about the issue at hand. What's that one thing that I'm talking about that's going to help you set more appointments, win more accounts, get more signed broker of record letters, write bigger commission accounts? It is a slowing down at the very beginning to figure out what you are going to go after. I call this the micro niche. I've been calling it the micro niche for years now, well over a decade, because it's not just a matter of picking out a niche like construction or manufacturing. What I do is I help insurance agents go deep down into finding the right type of business deep down into the micro niche that is what your carriers want to write. And then we create scripts based upon it. We put together a timeline of services that helps the insured to see what it is that you're going to provide to them. We can then also create your marketing and your branding and your wording, all for this particular micro niche. I mean, this might seem like it is a bright place to start, but I'm just here to tell you, most agents don't start there. And even if they know they want to try to figure something out, what to go after, it's that they don't know how to actually figure it out. They don't know where to start. And I'll tell you that I understand. I mean, granted, I was an insurance producer for 10 years before I started working with insurance agents and agencies. So I get it. I kind of fell into writing subcontractors because that's what the agents around me were doing. So I did it as well. There was no thought process through this. I didn't know anything else. The agents that I was kind of watching do it, they didn't know how to write anything else because they were going after it because somebody else was going after it. So the thing is that most agents and agencies never kind of push the pause button to stop to think about, why are we doing what we're doing? I tell you that if we can simply just create a target that we're trying to accomplish and a destination to achieve, you're going to have greater results after all is said and done. Now, let me just say also, I don't mean dabble. A lot of agents dabble. Okay, a lot of agents dabble. And even when I tell them or ask them, tell me what your micro niche is. Here's how. I was talking with one agent today. Okay, he's not a one-on-one coaching client of mine. He's kind of in my group coaching mastermind. So I don't really work with him one-on-one, but he's been in there probably for about a month and a half. And he's still kind of learning it. And so I was going around asking the different members, tell me like what you're focused on. What's your micro niche? And he came and he said something like, I'm going after architects and engineers. I'm also going to be going after this particular industry, which was another one. And he said, I'm also going to be doing manufacturers. And I said, now, hold on a second. Hold on. I was just talking about micro niching. And what you just did is now you're saying I'm going after this and that and this. I said, you don't really have a micro niche yet. And that's where we need to start. Pick one and just dive in, especially for insurance agents that have, a lot of time. They can figure something out to go after and spend all of their time there. I think it's even more so for insurance agents that have a bit of a book of business, a significant amount of clients, or even just a decent amount of clients where they have to focus on that and renewing it each year so they don't have as much time to go out and prospect for new business. You are better off simply just picking something and going all in. Like I say very often, and I ask people, how many clients do you think you could write before you're sort of done writing new business? How many clients can you handle at one time, I guess is what I'm asking. Is it 35? Is the number 50 for you? Is it 75? Is it 120 accounts? You want 120 clients and like that's enough? That's a lot of renewals. I don't want anything more than that. Everybody has a number. You might not know necessarily what your number is, but everybody has a number. Every producer has. Let me tell you, every producer has a number that he or she is going to like get to that number and say, all right, I don't want any more. I'm good. Right now, I'm making enough money. My life is good. I don't need more stress, whatever. But it's a finite number, and it's not that big. And whatever that number is, I would say usually I should tell producers, shoot for about 50 to 75. 50 to 75 clients. Like even if it was 75 clients and they're at $10,000 of commission each, that's a $750,000 book of business. That's a pretty decent book. I would rather you try to get 50 clients that say $20,000, $25,000 of commission. It's going to put you well over a million, 1.2 million or so. That's a significantly bigger book of business than $750,000. But a $750,000 book of business for an agent in Idaho or South Dakota or in Wisconsin might be a very good living. Maybe not necessarily so for somebody down in Miami or, Los Angeles or somewhere like that. So it's a bit relative based upon those things, but you got to figure out what the number is because that's not relative. That number is whatever your capacity is. Now, where I'm going with this is that whatever number that is, might as well focus in one main area, one micro niche, and just spend your time there. Because if you spend your time diving into it, uncovering all the problems that they have, putting together a 12-month timeline of services it's got pictures and images, it's detailed, the wording is specific to that particular micro niche, your branding on social media, your emails are geared towards that, your any kind of paperwork, data, brochures, and so forth, it's all focused on that micro niche. You're going to set more appointments. You're going to write more accounts. You'll be able to go after and target bigger accounts, and you're going to win more accounts by signed broker of record letter and not have to go through a competitive quoting process because they're going to see you as someone that they can have confidence in. They're going to have a comfort level knowing that you're going to take care of them, and they're going to see you as the obvious choice of which agent to do business with. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. But it won't happen if you keep being a generalist. Here's what Mr. Jack of all trades doesn't get. Mr. Jack of all trades, the quasi-generalist, he doesn't write many big accounts. He doesn't win a lot of accounts in the year, and not too many people are trying to give him the broker of record letter because they don't see any difference between him and who they currently have. But sadly, a lot of insurance agents will say, well, I don't want a micro niche because I might be sort of like a boxing myself in and I don't want to corner myself to have to go after something which, then because maybe I could be missing some things over here. And my thought is, you weren't writing those things in the first place. Nobody's beating down your door looking for a quasi-generalist. Nobody is. So Stop trying to be a big fish in the ocean. Just figure out what your pond is and be king of your pond. Be the biggest fish in your pond. That's a beautiful place in which to play. I have clients that go after some very unique types of micro niches. Things that you wouldn't think of, not things like just trucking and construction, but I don't know, underwater basket weaving. I mean, think about all those stupid things that you could probably just focus on, right? I mean, there's so many different types of things. They don't have to be huge premiums, especially if you had an agency that doesn't require huge premiums, or maybe you're an agency owner where you don't need $300,000 accounts because you're going to keep 100% of the commission. And so maybe you can write $50,000 premium accounts, and that's going to be a great place in which to play. There's so many different businesses out there. You could do furniture stores. You could write Chinese food restaurants. I like Chinese food. Ooh, I love me some Chinese food. Chinese food restaurants. That would be a good thing in which to write, because then you get to go and eat the Chinese food at the Chinese food restaurant every time you go and see a new client, prospect. What a beautiful thing that would be. You can pick something like that and dive in. Now, I would tell you, be careful, however. This whole process of figuring out a micro niche is that it doesn't do you any good to pick a micro niche if you don't have access to the carriers that are going to write it. Makes sense, right? I mean, look, you could say, man, I really like fireworks manufacturers. I think fireworks are kind of the coolest thing, and I want to write fireworks manufacturers. And well, if you don't have any carriers that write fireworks manufacturers, you could literally have a 100% hit ratio on setting appointments with all the fireworks manufacturers out there in the world and write 0 of them, because you don't have access to the markets. So making sure you have access to the markets is important. It's highly important when it comes to property casualty. If you don't have access to the markets, you can't win. So why don't we start by taking a look at some of the carriers that you're appointed with and figure out really what do they want to write. Maybe have some conversations with the underwriters and the sales reps at these carriers. Maybe have some real good conversations with the wholesalers at some of your wholesale companies, some of the surplus lines carriers that are out there. They have very unique appetites that your typical standard markets aren't really wanting to go after. Maybe you're just going to focus your time and attention on maybe a few MGAs that have a unique program for a certain industry. They've got the pen for something, and it's just very easy to write those types of accounts and place them with that particular company. That's a great place in which to start. I have a guy, client of mine, he focuses just on group captive business. And so he writes group captive business with a couple of captive managers that are out there. And he's predominantly focused just on workers' compensation. He writes them in the captive, and then he rounds out the rest of the policies by broker of record letter. But he's got over $1 million of commission just by doing that, just having that focus on group captive business. But guess what? Your typical insurance agent out there doesn't do group captive business, doesn't know how to write captive business, because it's just sort of outside of the realm of normality for the typical insurance agent. It requires a little bit of a micro niche. This is my focus. I go in after this type of business. It works really good. It works really good. If I was to ever sell insurance again, I would think about going after something like furniture stores. I just think that's kind of cool. Furniture stores. There's a lot of them. They have a lot of property. They might have delivery exposure. Maybe not huge premiums, but decent premiums. I would also consider things like attorney firms. You know, the professional liability. It's not an area in which most agents sort of play ball. If you can play ball in that arena, sky's the limit on what you can do. Pretty decent premium as well. If you're trying to write, you know, employee health benefits, great place in which to sort of double dip property and casualty in the EB side. But can I just talk to my my employee health benefits friends for a minute? Hey, Mr., Mrs., Miss insurance producer at the EB level, you also need to micro niche. You, my friends, are the hardest nut to crack. I'm telling you, all of my EB clients are like the hardest ones very often to kind of help them to see why they should micro niche, because they think, well, I can literally write anything. It doesn't matter what the industry is. And I get it. I totally get it. And that's a beautiful thing, right? You can write a fireworks manufacturer because it doesn't matter what they do, because you're placing with Blue Cross or HealthNet or whoever you're placing with. I get it. I get it. But like we said, you can only have 50 to 75 clients. So why not Focus your attention in one area where you're branding and marketing and you're getting a reputation for yourself and you're going to trade associations and you're creating services to be solutions to the specific problems that they're experiencing in their industry, and they're seeing you as the obvious choice and they're giving you the broker of record letter in. I am telling you, if I could go back and redo my insurance career again, I would be an EB producer, focus in micro niches, only ever doing anything with a broker of record letter, period. I tell you, nearly every single day, if not every other day, multiple times a week, I think about just starting an agency and writing health benefits. I'm telling you, I think about it all the time, getting broker of record letters, and the carrier pays you the next month. You don't even have to switch the carrier. You don't have to switch the plan. They just start giving you the commission, and all the carriers appoint you, and you don't have to worry about it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Well, my property and casualty friends, it's a little bit more challenging on your side. So pick a micro niche that you can have success with. You are just going to have a more fun time in the insurance business if you're writing something with a carrier that already wants this business and they are going to be competitive at. You're just going to have a better outcome if you focus on it like that. So pick your micro niche. You will write more accounts. You'll be happier. Everything will go better for you. And if you're not there yet, let me just tell you, you're gonna do better. You're gonna have more fun, write more business, set more appointments, get more broker of record letters, write bigger accounts, all that. I want you to do it. But if you don't know necessarily how to do that, then that's why I want you to go to permissionproducerschool.com and get signed up for my October 14th producer school, because the first day to 2 days is where I'm taking the producers through this process about how to figure this out, how to decide, because each person is different. What works for you doesn't work for me. I can't go after farmers. Not going to happen. I'm just not going to relate to farmers, but I can write blue collar and I can write white collar, but I don't know. I just don't mesh with farmers. Everybody's different. You got to find the thing that works for you in your geographic territory, for your agency, and so forth. October 14th, permissionproducerschool.com, or simply just go to my website, permissiongroup.com, go to the top link where it says Permission Producer School, get yourself registered. Don't miss out. It's $497. But how much more commission is it going to help you write over the course of time? My name is Charles Specht. I'm the president and CEO of Permission Network, where I teach and train insurance agents just like you how to build a $1 million or more book of business through signed broker of record letters. This is the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast.